evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Mitchell Ringos. We start with news from Ukraine as Russia is zeroing in on their power grid. As overnight, Ukraine's president says Russia launched 36 rockets. While many were shot down, some made it through hitting crucial energy facilities. CTV's Annie Bergeron-Oliver has the latest.
There is a new darkness taking hold in Ukraine. The country has started nationwide rolling blackouts to conserve energy after 2 weeks of repeated Russian strikes on the country's power grid.
What the Russians are trying to do is to essentially allow Ukraine to go into winter dark and cold and try to beat down their will. But all it's going to do is just instill even more support because we see millions of people now coming back into the country.
Russia's wave of airstrikes has destroyed almost a third of the country's power stations, including one station hit overnight during what Ukraine's president called a massive attack. It's now estimated about 1.5 million households are without electricity. Staff and patients at a hospital in Kyiv are trying to prepare, stocking up on generators, battery packs, and candles. If there is any problem, we automatically switch to a generator, this doctor says. We are ready for outages. The strikes on civilian infrastructure are increasing as Russia suffers setbacks in areas like the Donetsk region, where Ukrainian forces are using the cover of trees to keep themselves safe and their weapons hidden.
Our enemy have many weapons and artillery. We don't have a lot of artillery.
Ukraine's power company is trying to restore electricity as fast as possible, but it warned that the damage from today's attacks may exceed anything the country has seen in the last 2 weeks. Annie Bergeron-Oliver, CTV News, Ottawa.
Well, work has begun anew at the Eagle's Nest mining project. The recently renamed Ring of Fire Metals, previously Noront Resources, announced that they have deployed dozens of new workers and are gearing up for their next phase of exploration.
With the support of Wyloo, we're now in a position where we can reopen the site and have a much more extensive exploration program, which is what we've done.
The company had largely ceased local activity due to COVID concerns, but the site is active again with 44 new hires, about half of whom hail from First Nations in the region. Acting CEO Stephen Flewelling says they're focusing on hiring from the communities closest to the site.
They're doing different exploration work, they're doing different maintenance work, they're doing diamond drilling work, they're doing geophysics surveys, they're the different staff we had for maintaining the site. So, in addition to our Thunder Bay technical staff, we've added a lot of new people to try and run the site year round and execute the exploration programs that we have.
Flewelling says they're planning a drilling campaign for next winter, but are facing challenges in seeing permits through the consultation process. He says the company's priority is supporting the Martin Falls and Webequie Road initiatives, the first steps in moving from exploration to development. In other news, a prominent member of Premier Doug Ford's cabinet was recently in Thunder Bay to learn more about emergency services, management, and response. Pramit Sarkaria is the president of the Treasury Board and met with local officials to discuss the uniqueness of delivering emergency services in the north. Some of the concerns and challenges Sarkaria heard about here include capacity limitations, response times, and evacuations related to flooding or fires. Sarkaria says he wants to keep the communication line open and will take what he learned back to Queen's Park.
We're going to continue to build the robust emergency management planning. We're going to come to some solutions. We're going to map out scenarios, worst case scenarios, best case scenarios, and we're going to give the resources that are necessary. So we're in the process of looking at all of that, working with our partners here collaboratively and across the province.
Well, last year, Sioux Lookout published their community safety and well-being plan. Now they're bringing local agencies together to help chart a path towards reaching the goals set out in that plan, with a full day of workshopping recently held at the local Legion. A wide range of local groups and agencies, from police, healthcare to community volunteers, spent the day working in collaboration. The goal was to turn the plan's high-level objectives into realistic and measurable goals with short, mid, and long-term targets. The plan covers 6 main areas of focus: housing, mental health, addictions, crisis service, recruitment and retention, and community vibrancy. Sioux Lookout Mayor Doug Lawrence says upstream investments, system changes, and collaboration will be needed to improve the safety and well-being of the community.
The community safety well-being plan, it was mandated by the province, but it really has it's had a positive effect of bringing agencies together and being a focal point to address many of the challenges, unique challenges. Some are unique and they're just exacerbated in Sioux Lookout by our role as a hub, but it's a focal point to work on these things together.
We pride ourselves in not being siloed, so we don't like to work alone on projects, and a lot of the projects and the goals that we've created or that have been outlined for us need interconnection between agencies. No one organization can do it alone, so we
working collaboratively, we're going to get more done. We are going to have more knowledge from different sectors so we can actually make goals and hopefully actually enact them and make some positive changes within the community.
Sauvé says the Healthy Community Task Force intends to have its report complete by the end of the year. That will include the results of this day's work, the input from community groups, and next steps in implementing the community safety and well-being plan. Flooded basements and washout roads were commonplace through the region this spring, but in Nipigon, the township has undertaken a $1 million roadwork project in the hopes of mitigating a more unusual problem, flooding at the top of the hill. Storm sewers, manholes, and catch basins are being added on a section of McCurdy Avenue, along with a curb and gutter to direct water away from homes. There's also an infiltration trench at the highest elevation point to help capture runoff in the ground. Public Works Superintendent Jeff Aiken explains that the flooding affected the properties that sit below the elevation of the road.
During times of snowmelt and heavy rainfall, driveways were being washed out, backyards were flooded, and on occasion some of the basements would get flooded. So one of the expected outcomes of the project is to minimize that happening moving forward. It's unique to say that you have a flooding problem at the top of the hill, so we're hoping that's resolved.
Aiken says although the work involves only a small section of the road, the $1.1 million project is financially significant for the township. The work also includes the replacement of an old sewer, the addition of a trunk water main, and new asphalt, and is expected to be complete by early November. One of Thunder Bay's favorite charity events is still going strong after 25 years, as 46 teams participated in this year's Bearskin Airlines Hope Classic to raise money to fight breast cancer. Day 2 of the Bonspiel had curlers up bright and early for a full day of non-competitive curling. Over 200 women came out this weekend to see friends, have fun, and support a good cause. The money raised will be going towards breast cancer research and treatment in the region, including supporting the Linda Buchan Breast Cancer Center. Along with the team pledges, this year's funds were also raised through a penny auction. The event was originally supposed to take place back in February, but was rescheduled to October due to the uncertainty of the pandemic. And event chair Sue Child says she's happy to have everyone together again.
Last night was phenomenal to see people that we haven't seen, and also to see the people that we see only once a year, because many of the women only come out for this event. So it's just a renewing of friendships.
It's a great cause. The money stays in Thunder Bay. The Linda Buchan Center has done so well, saved a lot of lives.
It's important to get the word out and to know that everybody can get together, have fun for a good cause.
The total amount raised will be announced tomorrow during their closing ceremony at 3:30 p.m. And sticking with sports, a Sudbury woman is making history after being selected to play on the Canadian National Blind Hockey Team. The team is currently in Fort Wayne, Indiana to compete against Team USA in the 3rd National Blind Hockey Series. Mala Fromer has the details.
Chula working his way off the half wall. Stick handling, shot right on! Oh, what a goal!
For those who are not familiar with blind hockey, it's very similar to the traditional hockey that most have grown up with, but there are a few differences.
Our puck is about 3.5 times the size of a traditional hockey puck, and inside the puck it's got 8 ball bearings. The puck is made of steel, so as the ball bearings travel around the puck, It makes a noise which allows players on the ice to track it and find it. In traditional hockey, the nets are 4 feet in height. In blind hockey, they're only 3 feet in height.
This year, there's a new addition to the team, Sudbury's Amanda Provan. She is making history as the first woman to be selected to play on the Canadian national blind hockey team.
Honestly, it's a dream come true. My goal was to, first of all, just to be invited to the national team selection camp. And I guess my dream was to make the team, and I was able to realize that this year. So I'm just really happy to be here and really excited to get on the ice with my teammates.
Her passion and her drive is what makes her who she is. I love it when she doesn't let the boys push her around. She's right there and she pushes them back. She's incredibly talented, a lot of skill, and she's worked extremely hard to get to where she is today.
Provan has been legally blind since she was born, but says she has always had a love for hockey and started playing at the age of 12. In 2017, she was introduced to blind hockey.
So my mom found a post on Facebook. We were interested, obviously, because I was really excited that there was an adapted version of hockey because I such a passion for it and just a love for the game. We saw this post and found out that the Canadian National Blind Hockey Tournament was happening in Toronto. So we decided to pack up and head down there to check it out. I participated in one of their tri-blind hockey events.
Games will be played Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and all will be broadcast live on the team's YouTube page.
Lindbergh nearly got his first international goal.
Molly Bromer, CTV News, Sudbury.
And we're now joined by sports anchor Kurt Black. We go from one hockey rink to another as the ThunderWolves are back in town.
Yeah, look at you, Mitch. A couple sports stories.
Stealing your content.
I better look out. He's coming for me. Yeah, from one rink, as you said, to another. Last night, it was the ThunderWolves having their home opener. And they had a little bit of added motivation as one of their all-time greats was in attendance. We'll have those highlights right after the break.
Welcome back. Now, Kurt, it's been quite some time since I've been to a ThunderWolves game in person, but I might have to go as the team's looking pretty good.
Yeah, and there was a lot of people down there last night at Fort William Gardens, probably close to 2,000. The ThunderWolves fever is officially here, as after splitting a pair of games on the road in Windsor to start the season, the Lakehead ThunderWolves men's hockey team was back in town for their home opener last night, playing host to the York Lions, looking to put on a show for the home crowd, as well as perhaps the greatest T-Wolf to ever put on the skates for LU. ThunderWolves all-time leading goals and points scorer Jeff Richards in the house Friday night, getting the festivities underway, dropping the puck during the ceremonial face-off. And clearly, having their greatest ever player watching on gave this year's ThunderWolves all the motivation they needed, as Andrew Wilkins' men would strike first midway through the opening frame, as Colin Vandenherk is going to wheel into the offensive zone before almost losing it, but the Riverboat Gambler gets back the puck, and he'll feed Jeff Dempster for the one-time finish. Lakehead off to the dream start 1-0. Then less than 2 minutes later, Spencer Blackwell will walk in from the line and find Joe Mack cross crease. No chance for York's Cole Ceci on that one. It's 2-0. But the Lions would come roaring back 11 seconds later, as Lucas Thoreau will pot the rebound off the quick shot from the corner, as we had a 1-goal game heading into the intermission, and York would carry the momentum into the second, where Thoreau will double dip, taking the pass before firing a laser past Christian Chichikoy to erase the T-Wolves' lead. But before the end of the period, Lakehead would pull back out in front, as Stephen Fox will be left all alone, and he will make no mistake wiring home his first of the season. And then after Chichikoy held the door shut the rest of the second, Troy Williams will all but ice this one, beating CC from a tough angle to double the T-Wolves' advantage, as Lakehead improved to 2-1 on the season after the 5-2 victory. Game 2 of the weekend set with York goes Saturday night back at the Gardens. And while the ThunderWolves got their regular season underway at the Gardens, over at Fort Williams Stadium, it was the final week of the regular season for senior high school football, where after handing their crosstown rivals their first loss of the season in last Friday's Catholic Classic, the reigning champions from St. Ignatius were looking to keep the momentum rolling ahead of next week's semifinals, taking on the winless Schult Vikings. Avery McCrae has the highlights.
Final week of the regular season for local football fans, and for once we had some decent weather for the game, which I'm sure all the fans in the stands thoroughly enjoyed. I know Kurt Black with the camera, definitely a happy man. First quarter, Vikings on the 4-yard line. Dylan Hall, he gets the handoff for the short score to put the Vikings on the board first, making it 6-0. The Vikes go for the extra point, but it's no good. Falcons D coming up with the big block, 6-0. After one. Second Q, now tied at 6 apiece. Falcons feed the big man Tyler Robertson. He pushes through for the 12-yard touchdown. Iggy jumps in front 12-6 to lead at the half. In the third, the Vikings strike back. Nolan Sloan with the little shovel pass back to Keaton Cristofaro. He would do the rest with the legs, taking it 35 yards to the house. Vikings would convert the 2-point conversion, and it's 14-12. But early in the fourth, St. Ignatius QB Michael Danchuk showing off his arm with the short little pass to Gunnar White, and he uses the wheels for the rest. 45-yard touchdown to make it 18-14, a lead the Falcons would not squander. St. Ignatius hands Hammersholt a winless season with a 29-14 victory on the final day of play.
And in the nightcap, St. Pat's took down the Westgate Tigers 35-15. And with that, the semifinals are set for next Friday, with the Fighting Saints set to take on the Vikings, while the Falcons will duel with the Tigers for a spot in the finals on November 5th. Shifting now to a busy night in the NHL that features all 7 Canadian clubs in action. We'll get right to it in the nation's capital, where the Sens welcome the Desert Dogs to the Canadian Tire Centre. 2019 second-rounder Shane Pinto, he's been the biggest surprise for the Sens with 3 goals in the opening 4 games. And just 5 minutes in, the 21-year-old will continue his hot start, jumping on the loose puck, firing home the icebreaker off the rebound. Then less than 2 minutes later, Ottawa's leading goal scorer from last season will double the Sens' lead as Josh Norris tips home his first of the campaign as Ottawa takes it 6-2 the final. On to Oilers Blues, where Jack Campbell's tough start in Edmonton, it continued in the first as Torrey Krug will fire the point shot through Campbell. Edmonton's big offseason acquisition with a goals against average north of 5. But if that was the bad Campbell, well, this is some of the good soup, as he's going to ensure that the Blues don't get the 2-0 lead, robbing Jordan Kyrou on the breakaway. But unfortunately, Oilers, they would drop it 2-0 the final. As for Campbell's former team, the Leafs renewed their rivalry with the Jets tonight in Winnipeg. Both games last year, penalty-filled affairs, and if things do get a little feisty, the Leafs will be prepared with Wayne Simmons and Kyle Clifford dressing tonight. This evening will also mark Jets Cole Perfetti's first meeting against his boyhood club, and he is well aware that he better keep his head up at all times.
Growing up watching these guys your whole life, now get the opportunity to play against them, it's kind of surreal. It's special. Don't really like them anymore. Excited to play against them, and obviously the heated rivalry between Winnipeg and the Leafs is it's gonna be fun to play.
Elsewhere, fresh off their first loss of the season, the Calgary Flames will play host to Carolina Hurricanes. 48 hours removed from being embarrassed by the Buffalo Sabres, newcomer Jonathan Huberdeau admitted today while the offense is there, the defense still needs some work.
Defensively, it's a little different system, but it's still hockey. We're playing zone in Florida, and here it's man on man, so I think it's just different. Sometimes I kind of get away with it, but I think I gotta be a little better. I think following my guy, but I think it's just a little adjustment, and it's gonna be fine.
I think the best way to explain that would be Florida couldn't beat Tampa in the playoffs last year because Tampa played a certain way and Florida didn't, and I think Florida's trying to play that way now.
Meantime, back here in the city, some of the strongest powerlifters in the country have made the journey to Thunder Bay this weekend to compete in Canada's National Strongman competition. Over 150 athletes were down at the CLE earlier today, testing their limits while looking to prove themselves as the strongest in their respective weight class. The athletes participated in a number of events, including the axle clean and press, a vehicle deadlift, and a sandbag to frame carry. Competitor Tony Vandenberg says the strongman competition is a lot more than just big people lifting weights. It's also about being part of a larger family that supports one another.
I've not seen another sport, hockey, football, lacrosse, you name it, where the athletes are so integrated in helping each other. That's really the support of it. It is, as I said earlier, a microcosm of what we want our community to be. It really, they support each other, they cheer each other on. The reward is being part of that community.
Thunder Bay is actually a really, really good strength community. And as you can tell by the people in the stands, we have quite a bit of people just sitting down. We got some people coming to watch, family members, and some complete strangers just coming to enjoy the show.
The three-day competition continues tomorrow at 10 in the morning for the Canadian Record Breaker event. Now, I must say, Mitch, Avery was dead on about during the football, saying, I love the weather. It was glorious shooting weather yesterday. Still kind of a beautiful day today, though.
It's honestly getting nicer throughout the week. Last year, it was pretty much full snow by this time, so nice temperatures on the way. We'll have more on that after the break. Welcome back. Now, even though we're inching closer to winter, it doesn't really feel like it. The temperatures on the rise, also on the rise over in Vancouver. A very nice day throughout the day, sitting at 11. Now, those clouds have rolled in, but it was a lot warmer earlier. Now, over in Toronto, 15, plenty of sunshine at the moment, while St. John sitting down in 14, plenty of sunshine on the screen. Just a little bit of clouds making their way in. Now, tonight, the temperature not dropping off too much. There is going to be a little bit of rain over in Red Lake. That could affect the Sioux Lookout and Pickle Lake area as well. But as you see, those temperatures on the rise, 7 in Fort Frances, all the way up to 9 in Sault Ste. Marie tonight. So definitely higher than we're used to seeing, especially even just last week, those temperatures down around 0. A little bit of cloud coverage making its way in, while tomorrow temperatures very warm. The nicest day of the week, Fort Frances, all the way up to 19. We're going to see some sunshine as well. Red Lake still seeing a little bit of the after effects of that rainstorm. Clouds making their way in, but nice temperatures heading east to Greenstone and Sault Ste. Marie as well. 19 in Sault Ste. Marie. Now at this hour, still very warm, 12. Those clouds have rolled in. The wind sitting from the east, 12 to 24 kilometers an hour. Tonight, only going to drop down to around 6. That wind, though, is going to jump up just a little bit. It's going to be partly to mostly cloudy, though, throughout the night heading into tomorrow. Now, Sunday, like we said, the nicest day on the week. Temperature not the highest, but it's going to be mostly sunny. 14 tomorrow, definitely going to get outside. On Monday, the temperature even warmer, all the way up to 17. Now, a couple of afternoon showers are going to make their way in. Hopefully, that does make its way out so we can have another nice day on Tuesday. Temperature is going to be sitting just about 11. The temperature starting to drop off. Those clouds are going to drop down, but they're heading into Wednesday, as we're just going to see some sun and a little bit of clouds making their way in. Temperature sitting at 8, but as you can see, those lows starting to come into effect. -3 Thursday, cloudy throughout the day with a temperature of 8. Now, I know you're happy about the warmer temperatures. I know last year this time it was snow. Are you hoping that this holds off even longer?
No, because I'm not going to be that foolish, right?
That's
because
fair.
as soon as
That's
you get
fair.
your hopes up, we're going to have a couple feet of snow and I'll be crying again. Right now, I really like that I can wear my winter jacket just to be cozy and not to simply survive.
Yeah, you don't need the winter boots yet.
Not yet.
But maybe soon. Thank you all for joining us. Have a great rest of the night, and we'll see you next time.